Hey guys, welcome. Hello. Um, I'm doing a little playing around. I thought I'd go ahead and share while I'm doing this, maybe even talk and give you something to look at. Um, Anybody who's seen my cartoons may have wondered if I do any drawing myself. I actually do. Um, I want to go ahead and, if I can, share. This is one of the ways I thought that we could tell people about how bright we can be, our spirits, our souls, our being. There's a lot of things in the world that we don't understand, and particularly when it comes down to our spiritual being, the question is, do we have a spirit? Do we have a soul? Do we have a plan? And if you do, how does it go? So, this is a little bit about drawing or coming up with analogies that might depict part of what's going on. When you say part of what's going on is like, let's suppose that there's a plan out there in the universe. Let's suppose that somebody knows what's going to happen already to a pretty large degree because they control a lot of these things. How does that happen? Well, if you know all sorts of stuff like we do now about science and frequency and what you can change, it turns out we have a lot of things that we can affect in the world. Amongst them, reality. Reality is what you and I make it. True? Because if you think about it, what you do today creates tomorrow. For somebody, even if you're not around, tomorrow's still going to come. And if it does, what does it consist of? Is it just somebody's imagination? Is it somebody who decided to just create a world like a god? Is it just his imagination we're looking at? Or is it even more? Is it a computer that God created to generate these little realities we call holographic worlds that are not real? They're not real in the sense that as much as I can draw this to exist, somebody else could actually draw using a 3D construction, just like a 3D printer, and make a planet. And then jettison it out into the universe. Imagine somebody with that much power. That's a lot of power. But just because we don't know about it, does that mean that that kind of power doesn't exist? I contend the power exists. Now, who controls it? Is it just one god? Is it a bunch of gods? Is it a bunch of armies that operate for a bunch of gods? And what makes a god a god? What makes a warrior a warrior? How are these things determined? Part of that is an internal question, because there's no way we as humans can know that, but there's a lot of speculation. Now, speculation revolves around people believing this way or that way, and then basing a bunch of speculations on what they believe to be a fact of the moment. The problem is we don't have many good facts of the moment to work with, because we're pretty much way far behind when it comes down to the knowledge base we need to really understand a lot of what's going on. So, as we explore the universe, I want everybody to keep in mind we have yet to explore planet Earth entirely. From what we can tell, we have entire colonies underneath the water. Imagine that. colonies underneath the water. You know why? Because they're mining it already. We're talking about going down to do it. They've been doing it for years and more. You see, we're not the only entities on the planet. I hate to disclose that to y'all, but not only are we not the only ones, we have not been the only ones for longer than we've been here. The planet was occupied by beings over and over and over again. No surprise for some. For others, it's a big surprise. They've been drinking the Kool-Aid and believing that mankind is the one person, one entity that God made himself, you might say, replicated, as the story goes. And so that way humans could think that they're the greatest thing in the universe. But guess what? Long ways from that. But we are great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting this down in the sense that we actually are pretty great. But the trick is, how great is great? And what is great? Great is if you're really loving and caring, you're a wonderful society. Wait a minute. I'm talking about humans? Well, there are humans that are wonderful and great. You don't want to not say that. There are humans that are wonderful and great beings. But there are also some really horrific humans out there that seem to want to go ahead and dominate the world and kill people and animals. And that just can't happen. You cannot have that happen. Why? Because all beings have a right to be here, not just humans. So if it was just humans, then guess what? You need to be getting on your road and getting out of here because you're just too damn violent unless you can go ahead and learn how to be peaceful. Who wants you in the universe? Look at that, I'm using that red on there, and a lot of people can't see red. Why would I do that? I like red. So, suppose that there was a fantasy story about a worm, earthworm, a little avatar, a little cartoon, and he represented a team Earth, earthworm, get it? And he was working with the bees so we can be what we need to be to save the planet, which means we need to save the worms and the bees and a bunch of other creatures too, because we are sharing the planet, not dominating it. We must become the solution, not be the problem. You can't just kill off everything that lives on the planet and consider that good. That ain't good. So, what are we going to do? Well, one thing I'd like to have us do is wake up. Now, how do we do that? Well, it just so happens I have this really cool virus. I brought it from another planet in my little escapades, time traveling and other things, but it's meant to be here. This is why I came. Warriors. Warriors for what? For Wibblery. Oh my God, that sounds like crazy. It's supposed to. If you were the enemy and you saw some fool coming at you yelling, Wibblery! And what? Would you be scared? And if he was being led by an earthworm with a blue racing cap, and at the front of the charge, they're screaming out, love! Yeah, love. And they don't plan to exactly beat everybody. In fact, they plan on loving everybody. Call that the sword of love. You can actually use it on evil creatures because they can't stand love. Yeah. So we're going to do that. See, we're going to go ahead and allow ourselves to go ahead and love our enemy to death. Just love them. If you haven't read the story of the demon, an exercise in the house of demons, Well, that's part of it, see, is to get them and grab them and love them mercilessly. Love them to death. Push them back into hell because they can't stand it. They'll repel. They'll run away from love. You've seen it. You've done it. If you've ever loved anybody that doesn't know how to love back, man, they're going to run. Why? You're scared. Love. Love. Pure white love. Well, evil people don't like love. So are you free? Are you here? Are you able to feel love? To be a light warrior? To love? That's us, Wubbers. The ones that came here to go ahead and make a difference. The ones that came here to, perhaps, if possible, create peace. You know, some people don't think peace is possible, but I do. I do. I don't know it's going to be easy. It's certainly not. But on the other hand, there are not many things in life that are great, that are good, that are wonderful, that are going to be easy. Don't you agree? So, let's just suppose that we would actually talk about what can you do to make a difference. Well, one thing you do is get strong. Make sure you don't have to depend on anybody. Your body's in real good shape. Why? Because that way, if anything happens, you don't have to be one of the victims. You're one of the heroes. Able to go out there and help people because you're in good shape. Physical condition. What's it take? Well, it takes actually not that much, but you got to make an effort. You see, it's important that people know that your body, your vessel, is the thing you occupy while you're alive in body. Energy in body equals life. So you have a vessel to experience life through. Now, most people, you'd think they'd go ahead and respect that, but they don't. You know, a lot of people just trash it. They treat it like it's, well, no price they pay for what they do wrong. Of course, that's not right. It's not true. But some people you just can't tell. They got to experience it. They got to know in their own minds that's a possibility. Now, I personally, I prefer to learn a lot of stuff I need to know vicariously. Meaning, I don't have to suffer through all the pain to learn it, but I can enjoy learning it and get the benefit of it. And that's called learning vicariously. You'd think more people would like to do that and save themselves being hurt, taken advantage of, and stepped on. Now, how do you do that? Well, what you do is you think and ahead of time before you do stuff. Think about the consequences. In other words, what is going to happen if you go ahead and step out in front of that semi-truck on the highway while it's flying down the road? It's going to hit you. That's a thought. What's the consequence of your actions? So, some people, they don't get it. They'll go out there and stand in front of that thing and think it's going to stop just because they want it to stop. Well, they deserve to run over. That's how we keep the population of stupid people down. But ideally, I want to educate them first so they got the choice. Did you want to be run over by the semi-truck? Did you want to commit suicide? Okay. Well, you sure? Can't talk you out of it. All right. Well, you got free choice. You can go ahead and try that out and see how that works. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe they just get run over and don't die. Look like shit, all in a bed, all beat up. Oh, come see me. Come feel sorry for me. I'm sorry. I'm not the guy to call. I warned you not to stay out in front of the truck. You went and stood up in the truck. Now you want to take up my valuable time, have me come over there and feel sorry about you. And help you? Oh my gosh, and pay for you to be better. And in doing so, I don't get to live my life now. I got to live my life so I can pay for your stupidity. Now tell me, are you living your life so that you can pay for the stupidity of others? If you are, I want to give you some advice. Stop. If you're enabling others to be stupid, that means they were ignorant, you taught them how to be smart, they chose to continue doing stupid shit like drinking and drugging and ruining their world, then you just need to get out of their way. They have got a determination that you cannot overcome. They believe that's what they're here for, is to ruin their life and everybody around them. You can't stop that. So don't try. Don't try. Let them go and stop banging your head against the wall trying to save people that don't need to be saved. As far as they're concerned, they don't need to be saved. So stop trying to save people that don't want to be saved. Well, Jesus said I'm supposed to do that. No, Jesus didn't say that actually. Jesus kept right on walking, and those people that were going to joined him, and those people that weren't, didn't. And Jesus was fine with that. He didn't want some people joining. He didn't want people that weren't sincere. He didn't want people that weren't going to go ahead and do the work, to go ahead out there and to try to help others to be better themselves. And in doing so, by bettering themselves, helping others. Now, you wonder why more people don't understand that. I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that my purpose in life, I know it seems kind of crazy, but my purpose in life is to try to go ahead and to share possibilities. And maybe, just maybe, we could go ahead and get along, and make the world a wonderful place. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we got to get housing for everybody. We need to give good food to children, good educations. We need to give people reason to want to live instead of just wanting to do drugs because they're miserable and trying to escape. A lot of them would rather be dead. I know, hard to imagine, but they would. So, what do we do to help these people out? How do you get people that want to be dead to want to live again? Well, my conviction, my belief, having been there before, is to give them a reason, and that means let them know they're loved. Let them know they can be part of something. Now, admittedly, there's some people that just ain't going to come in. They're going to stay out there and continue to do bad things and be bad, and they're going to have to stay out there. They're going to suffer. Can we do anything about that? No. That's their choice. Now, we can do something about us. You can stop being beat. If somebody's beating you, you can walk away. You can go ahead, if you have to, in my opinion, kill them. Get rid of them if they're going to just nothing do but destroy other people's lives. And make sure you have plenty of witnesses and evidence so that you don't get caught for murdering somebody that you shouldn't have murdered. For some people, if you don't stop them, they will kill you. And don't believe otherwise, guys, because that is a truth proven out many times now in the universe. There are evil people out there, sad, not everybody's good, and not everybody even wants to be good. That's the saddest part of all. You got people out there that enjoy being bad. The worse they are, the bigger heroes they are in their little peer group of gangsters, MS-13, people that just enjoy causing pain. They laugh and suffering. This is what they're taught. It's not natural. These kids are put through horrific childhoods, raped, forced to be part of the rapes, tattooed, marked, made to believe from the beginning that that's what they are there for. That is their religion. That is their cult. And it's a powerful one. It consumes their lives. Years and years ago, I went to college. And one of the things I went to college to learn was how to go ahead and help deprogram people. People that have been caught up in these cults. A cult is an immature culture. Because if you let it go, it becomes a culture. MS-13 has become a culture. When you have 60,000 members in a gang like they do in El Salvador, that's a culture. They have their own network of people, husbands, wives, children, all being brought up thinking the same. That's a culture. Now, does that culture have a right to coexist once it's established with other cultures? And how do we reach peace by honoring everybody's right to be who they want to be, if you can do that? Can you do that? Can you do that with people that don't respect other people's lives? People that want to control through violence and through abuse and through just literally taking, not sharing, living, giving, but taking, not loving, but hating. Anger, anger, and more anger, and more anger, until all you really have is the anger. And so the question becomes one of, how do we go ahead and integrate people who want to be angry, who feel that's a culture, who want to be liars and thieves and feel that's a culture, and who want to go ahead and terrorize others because it's their culture to be able to do that. Well, we can't let that culture mix with a peaceful culture, or what it'll do is it'll try to wipe out the peaceful culture. That's their nature. And so what do we do? How do we coexist? How do we split the planet up, or can we even think about doing that? Now, there's some that consider the possibility that the planet could subdivide itself, like a cell, like a baby in the womb, splitting and becoming one cell, then two cells, and then an entire human being, and then splitting away from the mother. Is Earth going to do that? Are we facing that potential? Well, it wouldn't bother me. I'd love it. What a wonderful idea. But is that going to happen? Is it an embryo? Is that embryo going to split? We're going to have a third dimension and a fifth dimension, as they say, and all of a sudden we're going to be swept off into the better dimension if we're the better, higher operating systems, higher computers, able to go ahead and process all the information in the 5D world. And that's not 5G, quite the opposite. 5G is the way they control and keep the people here who don't go to the next level. That's the prison planet, is what's here. The people that are going to say, hey, I like having all my decisions made for me. I like not owning anything. I like not being able to make decisions. I like to not have any rights. I like to have people tell me to wear masks. I like to have people tell me to take jabs of stuff that I don't even know what it is. And oh my goodness, it may kill my body. And wait a minute. At what point am I giving up my soul? Can my soul be taken? This is the question people should be asking. Why? Because the answer is yes. And sadly, ample proof that we're now able to go ahead and override the brain and steal the body. Override the brain and kill the body. So, do you know? Are you aware of that? Are you doing anything to go ahead and try to protect yourself from some of these evil forces that are building up, that are planning to be able to go ahead and perhaps, if they can pull it off, control the next 1,000 years on the planet? Because this is the decisive time. Most people aren't aware that right now we have a big war, not just the war between the Chinese and the Americans and the Russians. No, not that. That's just part of it. No, this is a war that's basically of spiritual levels. This is a war for a universe, a portion of the universe. In this case, the portion we live in. And I'm kind of fond of that portion. Not really anxious to give it up. And so, as a being of multiple lives and multiple places, I chose to come here and volunteer for a lifetime as a warrior. Why? Because we, the warriors, we, W-I-I, all the I's that are going to light up and take the evil to task. They weren't expecting us. Now, you see, normally, they thought we'd be out there and they could just take us down ahead of time, spot us. But we've been harder to spot because we look like we're a little crazy. And so they've been ignoring us, thinking, why would we bother them? Look at that, talking about some stupid little thing, cartoons. He ain't no threat. That ain't no threat. Nah, we'll figure out the big stuff. So we got wars going on. We're going to kill off massive amounts of people. And non-threats like me, artist and a writer, who just writes some really stupid, silly poetry about wibblery. And what? Why would you even worry about that shit? Don't worry about it. We're going to go ahead and share it with all the kids and all the people who don't want to be at war. You guys want to be at war, so don't worry about it. And all the people who don't want to have global control, well, that's what Wibblery and Wub's about. It's just a fantasy, see, about what would happen if all those people that don't want it got together and maybe formed like a light brigade that said, hey, we're coming out and we're going to change the way the ending's going to happen. You see, that's what it is, actually. See, we came here, we, the light brigade, we came to Earth. with the intention of doing this, staying hidden until the last second, so that we can go ahead and pop up and be the surprise. I love being a surprise. Don't you? Don't you like surprises? I do. And so, as I went ahead and started looking at what we do, as you look at what happens as life comes out of the sun in the form of light and rains down upon us, creating things like water and all sorts of other wonderful possibilities out of what seems like nothingness. Just nothingness. Now, let's suppose you, an individual, go on to consider yourself as being more than that, so that therefore, once you believe it, you can be more than that. Because you can't be anything you don't believe you can be. It's one of the rules. You argue for your limitations, and guess what? You win. How do you win? Well, if you don't believe you can do it, you won't be able to do it. No. You will be a victim. You will be the one that has to go ahead and suffer while you watch other people vicariously experience bliss because they went out and did the work. Yeah. They went out there and actually did the stuff they're supposed to do, got their body in condition, ate well, did all sorts of stuff that made them stronger instead of weaker. Like, isn't that what you're doing? And if not, why not? Why not? Why don't you? Why don't you want to go ahead and do anything you can do right now, while you got the chance, to be incredible? Not just a little incredible, a lot incredible. Why not? Why not be a lot incredible? Because we need more a lot incredible people. People are just astounding, amazing, and they're out there. I'm meeting them. They're light beings. And they don't even know yet that they're light beings. They're still thinking they're just human beings without that extra power, that other grid. But soon, very soon, more people are going to understand. And as they do, then more transparency will evolve. Transparency is what the internet provides us with. It's a means of seeing things that you can't see otherwise. And that's what's supposed to be really important in the world, is that we can kind of get an idea that there's another world out there, that there's a outer space, and there's other creatures, and there's other beings, and there's actually another whole possible universe of ifs, could be's. And if you look out there far enough with the right scopes, it seems like there's just nothing but endless possibilities. So the question becomes one of, how do we go ahead and exploit those to make our world a better place while we're here, not after we leave? Won't do any good. So you can get active. How do you get active? You go ahead and come out there and participate by doing things instead of just sitting there on the couch, on the chair, looking at the internet. You go out and do something. What's doing something? I don't know. Create something wonderful. Create a new invention that makes things better. Instead of just thinking about it, actually do it. In other words, you are the one that's going to make the inventions. It's not going to be the other guys. You got a great idea. Go show everybody. You know, you can actually make it all happen. Nobody can do what you can do. Everybody's unique. What is your special power? What is it? Is it communication? Are you just really good at healing people? What's your special power? Because now's the time to bring it out. Everybody, all the eyes together. We need help. Yeah. We got to go ahead and work together so we can help out the people who can't. The babies, elderly. There's a whole bunch of people out there who just can't help themselves at this moment very well. And we got to go out there and do something for them. What do we got to do? Well, we got to represent them. We got to go ahead and be their guardians, their warriors, their protectors. Why do we have to do that? Well, some people just can't. They're the ones that brought us into the world. They're the elderly. They're the ones that produced everything for us to be able to do this with now. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have these pens in my hand. I wouldn't have the internet. I wouldn't have all the technology it took to get us to the point that maybe, just maybe, we can now stop polluting the world and taking advantage of what we really do know is possible. And then also recognizing that we're not the only intelligent beings on the world. And just because somebody can't speak human doesn't mean that they're not intelligent and that they don't deserve to have life. In fact, that's one of the big issues, isn't it? Who deserves to live and who deserves to not live? Because right now, the people that are killing other people, in my opinion, they're probably the ones that don't deserve to live, and the ones that are killing the innocent, the women, the children, the people that they're sacrificing in wars so they can make money, those people actually do deserve to live. So, I'm recommending that we kind of have some global tribunals and pop those people that are causing the problem out of the picture. We just go ahead and send them off to be spirits in trees and to go ahead and experience 1,000 years of not messing with humanity and being a pain in the butt and causing wars. And how do we do that? Well, I'm not absolutely positive, but I do know this. We can get started on the process of having the tribunals, and we can start on the process of why and how transparency is going to make it possible by just doing it. Just doing it. Let's go ahead and pick up some of those horrible people, like the Gateses and Soros and Klaus Schwab and the people at the UN and WEF, all the ones that are out there trying to go ahead and put down America and other countries that stand up for freedom and the right to go ahead and remain in the Light Brigade and to be here to protect those people from trafficking human beings. Can you imagine? For money. It's not supposed to happen. And I'm one of the people that believes that we can stop it. But it takes action. So, I'm doing things like this, little drawings and stuff like that, to try to go ahead and emphasize that this must be done by us. And in so doing, just like a cartoon, surprise! We're here to realize, to manifest reality. Yes, for you, my friends, are part of that reality. You are what's going to happen next. It's your choice. How? How? Well, honestly, it's really going to depend on a few key people. Whistleblowing. Yeah. So there's people out there that have all the information it's going to take for us to go ahead and track down and to put away many of the problems in the world. They're hiding on islands and they think that nobody knows about them. But the truth is, they do. And so I want to go ahead and just say, be the ray of sunshine. Be the one that lights up and exposes. Be the whistleblowers. For soon, honestly, they will be the heroes. They will be the sunshine. They will be what makes this all happen. Because what you don't see, that invisible energy of life, of love, of wub, well, that's about to go ahead and affect everybody, everything. Because wub permeates the universe. Wub is the ether, the energy of soul. Wub. W-U-B. And amazingly, many people don't know about it. They don't even know it exists. They know it on other names. And that's the key. See, there's only a set of words that they will go ahead and release in people's minds this hidden memory that we all have that allows you to then go ahead and see Wibblery. And if you see Wibblery and Wub and understand how you communicate. Secret. Communicate. How do we communicate? Well, we happen to have the means now. Yeah, we have the means. How's that? We have the internet. We have full transparency possible. And so you are watching me doing what's called webbling. I'm going on the internet, on the web, and this web goes around the universe. Mind you, don't think it just stops at the planet. There's people in other parts of the universe, in the cosmos, and they get this via the ether. It switches over, transmits across the ether, and moments later it comes out on the other end, on the far side of the universe, faster than the speed of light. Yeah, the ether allows you to go ahead and do things you couldn't do under normal circumstances. In other words, physics only applies on planet Earth. It doesn't necessarily apply when you don't have gravity and other things. And so therefore, I want you to understand, there's this energy that permeates the universe called love, called wub, energy of soul, called chi. That energy, my friends, is what makes it possible, literally what makes it possible for us to go ahead and make miracles happen. Miracles. Now, wub locked. If you get wub locked with somebody, what that means is you're bonded. Life after life after life. You can trust those people. Why? Because they are wubbers. They believe in wub. Energy of soul. What is that about? That is your ability to tap this energy coming from the sun, coming from God, and to be able to transform that into miracles. Thus to become into our lifetimes. Yes. We choose to take on a lifetime. We plan it. We become part of God's plan. And in doing so, honest, you become a hero. A hero. Part of what we know in history later on. I think that looks pretty good. What do you? So, I'm going to go ahead and publish this, and then we'll see what we can do about writing up something. And if it looks good, tell me. I'd like to see what you think about my little coloring job. Thank you, thank you.